What's up guys, Ben Clark here for Adapt to Perform. Today I'm here with Kylie. Kylie's a very experienced wheelchair user, I would say. She's done lots of her life and very exciting things, so I'm really excited to come and talk to her today, and hopefully we can learn lots of awesome things about your life and what you've done. So I think to start with, we'll talk about what you were doing previously in your life before all this happened, and then and then go from there really.
So I was 18 when I had my accident, so I was still quite young. So before that though, I'd finished school, college. It was actually this summer I ended college that I had my accident. But I finished with some A levels and AS levels, which was good. I was into loads as a kid, lots of sports, always been sporty. Played girls football, girls rugby, did athletics, netball. Played netball for Surrey at Surrey Youth Games, and had loads of animals. Grew up in and around horses, around farms, driving tractors, getting dirty. All the good fun stuff when you're a kid really. I was outdoorsy, I wasn't really inside. Didn't really play Game Boys or anything, just constantly outside, lots of hikes, walking. We always had dogs. So all that sort of stuff really.
So living a very active life as such.
Really active,
I guess that hasn't changed much.
No, I'm still really active now.
So you said you were 18 when you had your accident, so what happened around that time then?
So I was at just a party, it was end of college with friends, and we went swimming in a swimming pool and I had a diving accident. Broke my neck unfortunately.
It seems quite common among quadriplegics to be diving into shallow water.
I think it's just a split-second decision, isn't it? It just happens, and sometimes I think when you're a teenager or a young person you think you're a bit invincible, and you're not.
Especially if you're an outdoorsy active person, like you walk away from so many more horrific things than just diving in a pool sort of thing.
Exactly. Exactly. I'd fallen off many horses. I even used to ride cross country and one flipped on me once, and I've had some nasty injuries, broke my leg quite badly when I was a teenager, but doing long jump. But some things just happen and just meant to be, I think.
So how long ago was that now?
13 years.
13 years. And do you remember at the time, like, when you did it, do you remember, like, in the moment, like, what you were feeling and that? Because when I had my injury and that, like, I was thinking, I'll be all right. And it took like a couple of weeks to, like, realise what had sort of happened and the seriousness. How was it for you?
I knew straight away what I'd done. I've always been around it. I did equine first aid. I was quite lucky in that sense because as soon as I'd had the accident, I knew what I'd done and I knew what I needed. So I got all my friends to hold me still, hold my neck, get to the paramedics, and I knew what had happened straight away. So when I got to hospital, obviously I didn't know the extent, because spine injuries can be really varied. But when they x-rayed and I was put into, I think, an induced coma at Stanmore Hospital because I had pneumonia and stuff like that, so they just wanted me to get better. But when I finally came round and I realised everything, they told me, you're probably never going to walk again and all the rest of it. And to be honest, that wasn't that hard a news for me because I thought, I've always been active, but something inside me, I was like, I'm going to be all right and I can do this no matter what. And I saw it as a challenge. Everything in life, I'm very competitive. Everything I try and do really well. So I was just like, well, I'm just going to have to do this well, aren't I?
That's fair enough. It's good actually to have going into it. So it was similar for me, not through that way, but because I was an athlete before my injury, I sort of just took the attitude of what I was doing as an athlete and put it into my rehab process. So it does. I feel it does help having that sort of mentality in those early days to like sort of focus on it, and you don't have to worry about all the little bits going on. You just focus on the big picture and just get on with it. So how long in that were you in hospital for? Were you at Stanmore?
I was in Stanmore. I think it was 5 months in total. I wasn't there, like I know some people are there a long time. I think I was about 5 months because I kept saying to them, like, when can I go home? Like, I just wanted to get the rehab done. I was like, tell me what I need to learn, what I need to do, and then I just wanted to get home.
So you can sort of start living your life a bit,
And also the more people I met, from SIA and, you know, all the other different charities, backup trust, when they used to come in and speak to me, it just made me want to get going, because I thought the quicker I get back in my environment with my family around me who are really supportive people, I was like, I'm just going to be a lot better. Like, I know the nurses and physios are great, but I just kept thinking I can learn more off other people.
Yeah.
People in chairs and, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And then, so when you were home and that, like, how was that sort of transition period? Because obviously when you're in hospital, it's quite a safe space, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like, it's almost like you're in a white padded cell and you can't hurt yourself. But when you're out, you're in the big open world and you have no idea what's going to hit you. So what was that like in the...
It does take an adjustment period. Not that I ever felt down or, you know, that I didn't really want to be at home. I did. But it does take some getting used to, even the small things, you know, like people leaving shoes in your way, and going out in town and there being a pothole or a cambered street, and you're like, is it really going to be like this? You know, like, England's pretty good, we're not bad, but the accessibility isn't great when you're out and about in places, so it took some adjustment and a bit of imagination really to figure things out. I'd say for the first year and a half. It's not a quick process. No.
But now you're living in a very accessible home, which is, and you obviously spent a lot of time making it unique to yourself. What have you found like that's been really helpful around your house that you've made adaptations to?
I've only really got adaptations in my kitchen and the bathroom. Get down, you. The kitchen, I've got the hobs over there.
It's fine.
I'm sure. I've got the hobs over there, so I do all my cooking, which is great, or a lot of it, you know, I cooked stir fry the other night, I can do stir fries. I can reach my oven, which is great, and it's got a slide and hide door, so I don't burn myself, because I'm not that great with hot things. I guess a lot of quads aren't really.
No.
You know, you don't want to pull a pan out and drop it or whatever, but I'm pretty good. I always put like trays on my laps and things like that, and then move things around. But yeah, those two pieces of equipment really, like lowering the hobs and the oven, and then in the bathroom I've got a shower bench which pulls down off the wall, and it's electric, so it can go up and down, which is great for me because I can sit with my legs up in front of me and like lean on the wall and shower properly.
Oh, that's good.
And I can also dry myself and get dressed on it, so it's less transfers, so I'm not doing so much on my shoulders. Yeah,
it's good when you get, as you move on over the years, you were saying a little about it, like using less and less equipment. So it's nice for your home as well, because you don't have all this stuff to wheel around and all that. So if you can learn to be as independent as possible, but also have as few amounts of that stuff, then your house isn't cluttered with all sorts of random stuff. And
exactly.
It's like you're living in a house rather than a private hospital.
Yeah, exactly. And I never got on with shower chairs, things like that. Some people do, and that's amazing if you do, but I never got on with them. I find them bulky as well and just hard work. So I'd rather just go without that sort of thing. And with regards to like, you know, knives, forks, I didn't need special forks. I know they make them so they can slide over your hands and stuff, but they gave me them in hospital, but as soon as I left, I just found a way to put the fork between my fingers.
Sort of interlock it, so it just makes it unique for yourself. So, that's good. So one of the biggest sort of parts of your life, or the thing I see most around Instagram, is your wheelchair rugby career, which I think is absolutely fascinating, because wheelchair rugby is one of those unique sort of sports where women and men compete together. And obviously you're a female on the Great Britain wheelchair rugby team. And I don't know if there's no others, is there? Like at the higher level anyway?
Not at the moment. We did have 2 other females. So along my career, it's been quite funny actually, because along my career we've had, Josie Pearson was the first ever woman to represent Great Britain. She was in the Beijing Paralympics. And then I came along between that cycle and London, and then she left and went to athletics. And then we've had Natalie around, and then we've had Coral around, but the women come and go, and we don't seem to stay together. The longest was Coral and I. We were together in the team for probably a year, travelling around, and that was quite nice because I got to share a room with someone. Because most of the time I'm on my own.
So how did that all get started with the wheelchair rugby? Was that something you saw and loved to do, or?
So it started when I was in hospital, because obviously Stanmore, the London team trained there in the Aspire Centre. So when you're part of the rehab and stuff, you can go and have a watch of some sports. So they took me down to wheelchair rugby, and
cool.
as soon as I saw it, I was like, I've got to play that game, because I was always quite, into fast-paced games and playing the rugby before. So I wanted to try, and I just tried it in 2009, and that's it. I've been stuck with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how has it been sort of going through like the process of, you saw it in hospital and then now you're a Paralympian? It's sort of, what was sort of the process to get to that point for you?
So I went down and just started training with the London team, and they used to train 3 days a week at the time. So I was like, I'm going to do all of the sessions and then hopefully get fitter and stronger. So I started doing that, and I did that for about 2 years for the club team. Played the league weekends, travelled away at weekends with the team, and then in about 2011 I got a call to say they'd like me to go and try for the GB team up in Leeds for a weekend when they were playing Canada.
Okay.
And it's the first time I'd ever seen 2 international teams play, and it was just so fast.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my goodness, this is like completely different to club level rugby.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. So I was like, I need to be in this team. And I just kept working hard, and from 2011 onwards, I've been in the team basically.
That's awesome. Yeah, the level of difference between sort of club level and then going to the international levels, quite a big jump, isn't it?
It is. It's a massive difference, especially like the top 5 teams in the world now.
Yeah.
It's so fast, and the guys are so powerful.
Yeah.
So
I met Naz and Matt Lewis when I was in Bali this year, because they were doing some charity work with the charity I was working with.
Yeah.
And Matt Lewis is scared to play against him.
Is he a 3?
Yeah.
I think he's a 3. He's quite a powerful player, isn't he? Yeah.
Strong and fast and quick.
And Naz is one of the best point fighters in the world. Very experienced. Played for Australia a long time. So
and then like seeing how they play against when I play at my local club, it's like, whoa, this is a bit different.
It's very different.
Yeah.
And that's why I just loved it even more. I still love playing club rugby. I still do play for London. Yeah. But GB is something else. It's really, you get a lot of adrenaline. It's great fun. Yeah,
so with obviously that you've gone to the Paralympics, that must have been an incredible experience, especially being in London as well.
Yeah.
So how was...
Well, so I was selected for the Paralympics only a year after being in the team, which was a massive shock. I didn't even think I'd be at that level, I was probably aiming for the next one. So I couldn't believe it, and I went, and the experience was mind-blowing, but I'm pretty level-headed, obviously being in sport all my life, so I had a job to do, and competing in front of 12,000 people was unbelievable, one of the best experiences ever, and it really showcased the sport, and it just, it made people aware of it, and now when I'm out and about, I do get people saying, oh, wheelchair rugby, that's brutal, whereas before, no one had any idea what it was, so that makes it good for us as athletes, because a lot more people now know what it is.
Yeah, and they see you as an athlete rather than somebody who's just doing something for fun.
Exactly.
So it's good they see these are people that are competing. These aren't people that are just sort of
having a jolly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, they're serious about their sport. Cause,
exactly.
You wouldn't get into something like wheelchair rugby if you're not serious about it.
No, and when they realise, like on the internet a lot, and when we've done interviews, we talk about our training, and we're training 5-6 days a week, especially in the peak seasons. Yeah. And so they realise, they're like, wow, you actually do this properly. You are athletes, and and a lot of us have other disabilities to deal with on top of the training. So I think people really appreciate what we do, which is a nice feeling.
Yeah. So, and obviously with the wheelchair rugby, it's opened up doors in terms of travelling a lot. I guess you go all over the world with it, travelling. So what places have you managed to go, and things you didn't think you'd really be able to do because of it?
So I've done loads of travelling over the years, but with rugby we tend to stick to the big countries: USA, Canada, Japan. We've been to Japan quite a few times now, leading up to Tokyo. Yeah. Australia was the World Championships last year. The boys are all out there. So we do get to travel a lot. A lot of the time when you're with rugby though, you spend in the sports hall and then training.
A lot of hotels and sports halls,
so
same
you're
as when I
not
was swimming.
always seeing, the outside world. So it is quite nice when I do get to travel away from the sport, because then I get to go and see a lot more.
Yeah, that's cool. What's it like because sometimes with sports, like, you don't really sort of communicate with the other teams as much. Is that similar in wheelchair rugby, or is it like, is there like
leading up to the games, like when you're training and then about to compete, we don't really speak. You kind of keep your own, they're competitors, and you keep yourselves away from each other. You say hi, but you don't really talk. But then after the games, we all have a bit of an after party, and we always have like a tournament do, and people get awards and stuff like that. And we always have a great chat, and that's when it's really good, because you do get to actually know the players. And the majority of them, all of us, we're all pretty similar and very outgoing people, and it's nice to have a good chat with them, really.
Yeah, because obviously you played rugby before, there's that sort of like the spirit of rugby, like you're always going to have a drink after the game with the other team, don't you? It's like, it's quite a nice thing to carry on into the wheelchair rugby as well.
Definitely, they may have beaten you on court one day, or you might have beaten them on court one day, but you are all friends after.
Yeah, that's good.
Competitors at the time, but friends after.
Was it best friends off the court, worst enemies on the court?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's good, that is. What sort of things have you achieved then? Like, if somebody doesn't know about you previously, like, what sort of thing? Because recently GB won, was it the quad? We
won we came second in the Quad Nations last year. We won the 4 Nations in America, out in US and Alabama. That was amazing for us, because it was the top 4 teams in the world, which we're currently 4th in the world due to rankings with the point system. But the top 4 teams, it can be anyone on any day. It's so close. So that was a really good win for us. Then we've just got back from Japan, where we finished 4th, because America beat us by 1 in the semi. Oh, it was so close. And this is the thing, like every game we're playing right now, it's 1 or 2 tries, that's it.
Yeah, it's amazing how like close it is in the top 4 teams. Like, it can go either way, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's so good for the sport that it is so competitive, because if it was like one person dominating, like obviously Australia have dominated the Paralympics, but in terms, like, I wouldn't say they would.
Japan beat them at the Worlds.
Yeah, and then Japan beat them at the Worlds, and like you don't actually know who's going to win going into the Paralympics or the Worlds or that. And I think from a spectator point of view, that's really great, because it's like you got your team, and there's lots of passion, there's lots of it's such a good spectacle, and I guess that's why the sport's grown the way it has over the sort of last, especially since 2012.
Yeah,
obviously we see it from England, but around the world, I went to Bali, and they're playing in Indonesia, and it's like it's growing everywhere. So
absolutely, like Brazil, since Rio, Brazil's team's got bigger. There's lots of countries. South Africa's team's got bigger. China have even got a team. Thailand have even got a team. Like you say, there's so much more across the whole world now. It's the whole sport is growing. We've even got, in the UK itself, I think we've gone from something like 8 to 22 teams.
Yeah.
It's growing everywhere. It's growing, and it's growing at grassroots level and international, which is just amazing.
Yeah, I think the great thing about it is, because although it's called wheelchair rugby, there's no able-bodied equivalent, really, is there? So this is the top, like, there's no like, oh, they're running sort of thing, but there are people that don't have limbs missing or what that are running. So it is the top sport, like, it's not like, oh, they're disabled, so it's not as fast paced, so it's not as exciting. It's it's as fast and as exciting as it's ever going to get.
But you know what's really funny? When able-bodied guys get in chairs, they're rubbish.
That is funny.
They're terrible. They can't turn them. They can't throw the ball.
End up doing long passes all the time.
And then the ball just goes out of bounds, because they can't. They're terrible. It's really funny.
So one thing I was told about wheelchair rugby when I first started is that it's called chess with violence. So because it's...
I've not heard that one.
They say because although it's like very like aggressive and lots of hits and that, it's a lot of tactical sort of awareness, and you being a lower point player, it's almost more tactical than your position. So do you want to explain what your sort of role on the team is as such, and how you sort of play?
So I'm a 0.5, the lowest end of the classification scale. Like you say, I'm a defender. I don't tend to have the ball. I'm not a ball handler at all. That's with the other guys that are the 3 5s and 3s and 2 5s. So yeah, most of the time my job on court is to block and defend for the higher pointers. But to be able to do that, you know, you have to be quite smart, and because I'm not as fast and they're really fast, I have to get there before them, or, you know, I have to cut the court in half to allow them to get back and help me and things like that. So you're always using the sidelines of the court, your chair angles, swoops and things like that to create space or to take space away from the other team. So you just have to be smart, and you have to be like one step ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, because if you were new to the game, you could like, if they didn't understand what your role was, they could almost think like, well, they're not doing anything because they haven't got the ball. But your role is super important to make sure the person who's got the ball can do their job easier, isn't it?
It's just my job to make space for them to get clear and score the try, basically. But yeah, I can understand when you're watching, you're kind of like, wow, the fast guy's darting up and back, you know, and I'm just in the middle of the court doing circles. But in actual fact, I am blocking the path from the other players.
Because the lower pointers are kind of the ones that win the game as such. Like, if the higher pointers can't score a goal, that's normally because the lower pointer hasn't done their job, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I'm watching it, I like to watch what the lower pointers are doing, because I feel like it's like seeing how their mind works and how fascinating it is to you know, their tactics, and see it, because you have to have a lot of spatial awareness and think a couple of steps ahead, like, oh, I don't want to get trapped in this position, I need to be able to move if I have to.
Exactly, and you always have to try and make sure you're in the best position as possible on court, you know, whether you keep it in the centre or you're further down, but you don't want to be pinned to the sideline or out the way, because then you can't help your guys. So you do have to be pretty quick thinking.
Yeah, that's good. It's like, it's not just a physical sport, it's very thinking as well.
It is really mental, which is you know, one thing that I quite liked about it when I started playing, because I was like, wow, I've really got to think about this. And you know, when you first play, it's crazy because people are rushing around all past you, and you're like, what is going on? You know, you feel a bit dazed and you don't really know what's going on. But as you learn the sport, it becomes, you're more aware, and it's like, oh, I know what I've got to do now, and it's great. It's really good.
So as well, obviously it's a team sport, and you have, you know, the other guys on the team. So what's it like being on a team with a bunch of guys and
that's men? It's really good fun, you know. I'm just another player. You know, when we're on court together, we're not really male and female. We're just a player. So they don't treat me any differently. They certainly don't hold back.
That's good.
You know, they smash me out of my chair just like any of the others, and I wouldn't want it any other way. That's the way it should be. But yeah, they are pretty strong. Some of them. So I sit quite low in my chair, so that when they do hit me, I don't tend to go flying or anything like that. Johnny Coggan's actually a lot lighter than me, the other male 0.5. So he gets hit out all over the place. And I'm always like, oof, that one looked painful when his face is hitting the floor. Because he's so light. But because I'm quite tall and got long legs, and then I sit quite heavy, so actually I don't really come out too much.
Yeah, that's good. You don't want to be coming out too often. And with that, obviously, you were saying your teammates come up to your house, and that you've obviously made friends for life through it. And
absolutely.
Is it like, what sort of other things has rugby brought you in that sense?
You know, we do quite a lot together. When some of the guys get engaged or married, we all tend to be invited, and you know, it's a really good community. It is friends for life. You know, some of the guys live up north. We don't see them all the time, but they're always at the end of the phone if you need them. You also become good friends with their families, their wives, their children. And when you go abroad, like when the family will come to watch, our families all make friends. So it's just really nice. You know, you get on with everyone. We're all pretty like-minded people. It's really good fun. We have parties together. We on the off season we'll meet up sometimes, go for lunch. The guys at London, because we see each other every week, we probably see each other a bit more. Like when you're training with the guys you're closer to. So you become really good friends.
So you'd say, like, with the rugby and that, it's like created more of a life for you rather than just having a sport, and that, you know, you've created friends, you've got to travel, and you've made a life for yourself. It sounds...
Yeah, definitely, and it's really good to have guys with the same sort of disability as you, because you just learn from them when you're around them all the time, you know.
Yeah, I've seen it with people that got into wheelchair rugby, like what they were like when they started and what they like when they come out of it. Well, like, or they're a couple of years down the line on that, they're so much more independent, and they're like, oh, I don't need to do that, I don't need to do that. I can...
No, and you just, confidence grows. You just get confident at living life. You know, you don't have those anxieties of, oh, can I do that? Can I do that? You're just like, I know I can, so it's all good.
So you'd recommend someone who is new to being injured to take up the sport?
Every time, like, even if you're not sporty, I just say, just please go and, if you're quad, go and play. Even if it's just for 18 months, it gets you so strong and so fit that your daily life becomes so much easier. So I say it to everyone that I meet when they're first injured. I'm like, please just go and find a local club and just play, just for a little while.
I've got some people that come to our club and they just do it just for some fitness, and obviously it's helped them so massively. You know, some people come in electric chairs and now they're in manual chairs all day, and it's a hell of a lot easier to get around in a manual chair.
It just builds your self-esteem up, you know, as well, and it gets you. It's hard in the first couple of years, we all know that, and it just gets you out of the house, gets you doing something, gets you a bit of endorphins, gets you thinking, I can do this, and then when you realise that you can do that, then you can do more. You know?
Like, it's having that purpose as well, you know, there's a reason to get out of bed and do something in the morning, and you know, for some people that, in the early days, that could be quite difficult to find something. And it's not just doing something, it's something that's fun and exciting and aggressive, and you know, you can sort of be a bit more free with it than you can in maybe, because you obviously can probably say the same thing when you're in a wheelchair, rugby wheelchair. It's a lot easier to move around, and you can sort of let out that bit of aggression as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good fun to be in one anyway. And then obviously with the team spirit as well, you know, you make friends and all that. So
100%, and they're lifelong friends. They're there to help you with lots of things, you know. So just to be friends, just to go out for a meal in the evening, just, you know, you say to them, where's good to go, what, you know, what have you done, where have you been on holiday, what, you know, it's just really good.
It's awesome. So you were saying you've obviously travelled a lot with your wheelchair rugby, but you've also done a lot of travelling yourself, you know, doing things. What sort of where have you been and what have you done? And
so since my injury, I've been on many holidays. I go away, my family's huge, but we're very close, so we go on holidays every few years together. So I've done all those, you know, Spain, Ibiza, we went, Mallorca, been all over like that, and that's great fun because when I've got all my brothers and sisters, travelling is really easy. You know, I can get in and out of pools with the help of people, but with my brothers around, it's great because they just chuck me in. Chuck me in, pull me out, and I get to swim and be free, which is lovely. I love swimming, and I like swimming in the sea as well. So I do love going on the holidays with my family because it's just easy. And I've always got the support there. But I've also been on a couple of cycle trips with a few charities, and Regain being one of them, who helped like Tetras, and you know, we cycled all across South Africa, 450 kilometres, and then stayed in different hotels like en route as we went, and that was great, but it was boiling, so obviously being a quad and having to temperature and getting overheating and all the rest of it, so but it was great because there was like 30 other riders on there that were able-bodied, so if they were passing me, I was like, just throw some water over me and stuff like that, and so they were all really, you know, helpful, and it was amazing. And then obviously those hotels that we stayed in weren't always fully accessible, so you just kind of had to make do, but you just get on with it, you know, you just have a wash when you can. Some of them had a bath, so I just got a couple of the guys to just chuck me in the bath, you know, have a bath and then get out. You just have to make do sometimes if you want to enjoy yourself.
It almost makes it better for when you're home, when you go through those experiences, because, well, one, you don't take what you do for granted. You're like, oh, this is so much easier when I'm home. But also it makes you think, well, maybe I don't need that thing, or I can do it a bit, you know, I've learned how to do it, you know, in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
You know, with no access or that, so I can do it at home.
Definitely, you know, and even like I've been camping. You know, I've been camping on the Isle of Wight with friends and family, and me and the girls, four of my girlfriends went to the Isle of Wight festival and we camped, and you know, and I just got a blow up bed that was really high, really tall one, and you just make do for a few nights, and you just have a really good time. You don't always have to worry about it, you know, as long as there's, I don't know, well, I'm quite lucky because to go to the toilet I don't even need an accessible loo, like for my bladder now because I've got the Mitrofanov.
Yeah.
So I don't worry about that anymore because I'll just go to the loo anywhere if I need to.
Same, yeah.
You know, so during the day that's fine. But you know, as long as there are maybe an accessible toilet around somewhere if you need, you know, for the mornings. But otherwise, you just got to make do and get on with it.
Yeah, but, you learn how to go, oh, I've done something similar to this before. It might not be the same, but at least I can. Yeah. I know I can do something here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've travelled everywhere. So we did Vietnam and Cambodia as well, which was amazing. Still to this day, Cambodia is my favourite country. I just love it. I love Asia. I love the people. I love the food. It was boiling as well. It was so humid. Yeah. But it was flat. There wasn't any hills there. So that was amazing when we cycled all the way around there. But we got to, you know, go in the temples and got carried around by people through the forest and stuff, and it was amazing. It was such an amazing experience. Yeah, because people could be put off by Southeast Asia because there's not really wheelchair accessible anything there, but the people there are so willing to help. Like they just come out of nowhere. There'll be like 5 guys just, oh, we're here, there's help. We get up these steps now, I guess. Yeah, it's so amazing. Like you're kind of looking around to see where you can go, and yeah, like you say, they just appear. Oh, I'll give you a hand. I'm like, okay, you sure? But you know, and actually, like that's what I find so amazing when I do travel, because Britain sometimes I find people don't want to help so much, or they don't want to come and talk to you. Yeah. Whereas when I'm in Asia and South Africa, they're all coming straight up, you know, what are you, how are you, what do you do? You know, it's amazing. So even though the countries aren't that accessible and there's steps in quite a few restaurants and places you go, the people just make it accessible because they're willing to help all the time. Yeah. Yeah, I always say, like, when you go away, try and have, like, exactly like the minimum of what you need, and then the rest of it you'll figure out when you're there. Exactly. Because when you need to go to the toilet, you'll find a way to go to the toilet. Exactly. Yeah. It's similar to me. You know, like America's pretty good for wheelchair users. Travelled a lot around America with the team and on my own. Been to Florida on holiday and Miami, and cruises, been on cruises on the... I've never wanted to go on a cruise, and then my sister was like, come on, should we go on a cruise one winter around the Caribbean? I was like, cruise? Okay, we'll give it a go. And we went, and it was amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. Very accessible. They're very, very accessible. You know, you get roll-in showers, bathrooms. We had a lovely room with a balcony, and then you stop off at the ports and they put the bridge out. You can go off, have a look for the day. It was really good fun, actually, Caribbean cruise. That's awesome, yeah, because it's amazing, like the variety of holidays you can have, because somebody might think, oh, I've had my injury, how am I going to get on a plane for a start? And then when I get to the country, what's it going to be like? But like, you can do anything, really. Yeah. And once you've done the plane once, it's the same every single time. So it gets boring. You know what you've got to do. Yeah. You know, transferring onto the aisle chairs can be a little bit daunting, I guess, at first. But it's easy, you know. And all the staff are trained as well. So all the staff are trained. They can lift you on and off if you need it. Or generally, I transfer myself as long as someone's holding my knees and my legs together. So as long as you are good at communicating and just say exactly how you want it rather than them telling you what to do, that's how I find it's better. Yeah, that's what you say about communication. That's, you have to kind of, one thing you have to learn as a quad, if you need help in that, you need to learn how to communicate it. Exactly. So, but once you got it, you know, once you got that sorted, you can, there's no real limits to it. Exactly. And even if you wanted to, just for your first flight somewhere, just jump on a, you know, an hour flight to Belgium, Germany, anywhere, just to do a short haul, see how it is, and then if you're happy, then go further. There's no reason why not. Yeah, it's exactly the same, just longer on the plane too. Yeah, exactly. It does get a bit uncomfortable on long haul flights. Yeah, wiggling around. You want to try and move a bit, don't you? But especially when you've got your cushion on the chair, you're like, I'm too high up here for the backrest. Yeah. Then they got the movies, and then you're like, just watch this. Yeah. Forget about if you could fly everywhere business, it would be perfect. But not had that opportunity yet. So. No, it's quite a lot of money, isn't it? But it's still good fun. You get to watch loads of films and have a sleep, and then you're there. Yeah. So you say you went to like Vietnam and Cambodia. How was that sort of? Was that a new experience, like going to a country like that? Was that like sort of first time you've been? That was the first time I've been to Asia, actually. Yeah, in 2009 I went there. That was the first time I'd been to Asia. And I just loved it, fell in love with it. Cambodia, the people are just so friendly. It's amazing. And all the food was good. I love noodles and all of that, pad thai and everything. So the food was great. Even just the street food. You know, when you're walking down, there are some surprising things.
Yeah.
Like,
can you eat that?
Yeah, the crickets and stuff that they fried crickets and scorpions. I didn't really want to eat that, to be honest. But yeah, like I absolutely loved it. The people, we visited a couple of schools and got to talk to the kids, and the kids spoke really good English. It was amazing, and they'd all been like learning it, so they were trying to talk to us, and it was great. It was so sweet. But yeah, I went to a couple of their schools, just did a talk about what we were doing, and then on we went again on the cycle. And
oh, that's awesome.
so we got to meet the the kids in the community as well, which was really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, because it wasn't just like a holiday as such. It was sort of, you were doing the cycle ride, and yeah, like, how was it like on the roads and all that with the hand cycling? It
was pretty bumpy, especially Vietnam, because there's a lot of potholes.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't know if you've been to Vietnam, but you know, like the city, and there's bikes everywhere and cars everywhere.
I've been to Vietnam, but Bali was like that.
Was it like that too?
Yeah, just like there's cars everywhere. There's 2 lanes here, but there's 4 lanes of traffic.
And there's a motorbike going past with a whole family on it.
Yeah.
It was a bit crazy. You're kind of like, really? Is this going on right now? But it's what makes the country. It's so, you know, all of Asia is so different to here. And, you know, they're probably not so hot on safety like we are with the kids on the back of the motorbikes. But it just, you have a look around, and when you're cycling, when I was cycling, you get to see, like, the whole country, like, right there, and it's just amazing.
I found it was actually, the fact they don't have as much health and safety, I quite liked it from a wheelchair perspective, because it's like, say you got to somewhere and then say, oh, do you have a way in? They go, can't do that. Like in the UK sort of thing, and or you know, maybe America or whatever, they're just like, don't know, no, we've got rules in place that we can't help you out. But then you go there like, anything.
Anything.
Yeah,
they all just pile out, don't they? Pile out, give you a hand, up you go.
Yeah,
I know.
It's amazing. Like the attitude is, like they don't have that access, but they have the right attitude for it. So,
I do. That's what I found about those countries, and I think that's why I really liked it as well.
Really because I think that some people, if they didn't know these things, that they might be put off going to a country like that, because the attitude of people in our country, if they feel like it's going to be like that out there and there's no access, then they'll be stuck in a hotel room or whatever.
Yeah, and isolated, I guess. But it's not like that at all, is it? You get to go out, and the people will help you everywhere. Even if there's 3 steps or 10 steps, they'll get you in.
That's great. Yeah, it's good fun. Right, so obviously they made an appearance earlier, but these lovely little dogs here. You know, some people that maybe might be a quadriplegic might think, oh, a dog's going to be a lot of hard work to, you know, to maintain or to take out for walks and that. How have you found it with your little 2?
Do you know?
I say little 2, one's a bit bigger.
It's amazing. Like, I've had dogs all my life, so it was natural for me to want a dog once I got my own place and everything. So you just adapt, though. I'm not going to say it's easy at the beginning, especially if you have a puppy. If you have an older dog that's house trained, that might be easier if you're worried. If you get a puppy, it's not easy. But at the time that I got these 2, I was home a lot more. So I had sort of 2-3 months to house train them and be around. So just letting them out all the time, making them sure they went to the toilet, you know. It's not easy. Having to clean up after them if they've had an accident or been sick is not always easy, you know. I have people around sometimes, but not always. So I had to learn to do it myself. And you just adapt and find ways, you know, put my hands inside little bags and pick stuff up and spray with antibacterial spray everywhere and tidy. But I wouldn't change it for a world. They're great company. And I picked breeds that wouldn't need hours of walking a day. These 2 get an hour a day. And I go out, I've got a batik.
Oh yeah.
So I'll go out with someone and clip that on and go across the fields.
Oh nice.
So I give them about an hour a day. It is quite tough in the winter when it's cold and you don't really want to go out.
So,
but I do it anyway, and you just get on with it. And you know, if I've got a really busy day training, they'll probably get half an hour run, but that's better than nothing. And they love it, and they all do have a big garden as well, so
Yeah.
I'll chuck the ball out there for them as well. But yeah, it's good. I love having dogs. They're great company.
Yeah, that's because again, somebody might be put off, by the effort you have to put in, especially if if they're a puppy and that. But the sort of mental like positives of having that company,
Yeah.
Because we look after a dog every so often, and like just taking them out for a walk and that, I don't have to do all the looking after, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
But that sort of stimulation of going outside and with the dog and throwing the ball around, or
fresh air.
Because I'm lucky to live right by the waterfront with a park there as well, and it's
nice.
it just makes a huge difference,
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely worth it.
It does, and if also again, if you're not a sporty person and you just want something in your life that's fulfilling, they're amazing, because also you've got to get up in the morning to let them out.
Yeah.
You've got to put them to bed or do whatever you do. Mine sleep in the kitchen. You've got to feed them.
I can see this. Sleep anywhere. Well,
it's a good, it's a good routine to get you into as well. So if you're a couple of years into your accident, like after your accident, and you don't really know what you want to do, but you don't really want to do sport or something, then getting a dog might be quite a nice idea. It's company, and it's also getting you into a routine every day.
Yeah.
You have to look after them. You have to get up for them. You have to do stuff. So.
And they're adorable.
And they're lovely. And they give the best cuddles on the sofa in the evening. And
hot water bottles.
These two are, they're boiling. But it's just really good fun,
Yeah.
Again, my family's massive, and I'm very, very lucky, because sometimes on a Sunday, if I just want a day chilling because I've trained all week, my brother will go and take them on a 2-hour hike for me.
Oh,
and I'm just like, yes, thank you, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Especially my little one, he's got so much energy, so he can go all day.
Yeah, we found that earlier on when he's got springy legs.
He has. So my brother and my sister-in-law will come pick him up, go off out for 2 hours, and it's really nice. So I'm very lucky. I've got, support of my friends and family as well. But yeah, I walk them every day. My PAs walk them with me, my friends, my family. They get lots of love, and then they're always here, and it's just lovely to have company.
Yeah, but I guess once you've gone away on your travels with rugby and that, and you come back and they're here to greet you, it must be a nice feeling to come home to.
It's so nice when you get back and there's dogs there waiting for you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely greeting. It's my sister and brother-in-law, look after them when I'm away, and they've got the 3 kids, so they get all the kids cuddling them and playing with them as well. And Stanley plays football, my little nephew, so he plays football with Humphrey because he's obsessed with tennis balls. So it's just really nice. They get the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I guess, obviously you say you're lucky with having a family, but if you were somebody that was alone and that, because being a quadriplegic can be a lonely life if you let it. Having a little friend around can break that up.
Definitely. I think if you pick the right breed of dog, one that's a bit placid maybe and calm, and you can just have them around as company and a little bit of exercise and all of that, then I think it would be amazing to have.
You having a good old scratch over there.
He's having a scratch.
Just making sure we're watching. And a little bark tour. And I came in as well and I saw some farmyard animals.
Yeah.
So, what was the reasoning behind getting? What have you got? 2 goats and 2 pigs.
I've got 2 goats and 2 pigs. We bought the goats originally for my niece and nephew. Obviously, we've grown up with animals, my sister and I and my brother, and we've always had dogs and everything else and horses. And we were like, right, we want the kids to experience having animals in their life. So we got the goats, and then I decided I wanted some pigs to go in there with them. I love pigs; they're my favourite animals.
Oh.
So yeah, we got the pigs and goats about 4 years ago now.
And what's that like? Do you look after them in terms of all their?
Yeah. Well, between myself, my PAs feed them for me. My sister,
Group effort, yeah.
Brooms about. Yeah, it's a bit of a group effort.
So there was a thing about a couple of years ago where everybody wanted micro pigs, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, these guys are micro pigs, but
they're not anymore.
Micro pigs don't stay small,
no.
And I knew that, so I knew what size they would grow to. But they're really friendly. The boy pig can be funny around food. He gets a bit greedy. He likes food, so we have to watch him with that. But otherwise, you know, they come out in the garden with me. The thing I need help with them is probably their bed, putting the straw in and all of that sort of stuff. But because I've had the pen made and I've had, when you open the gate, I've had a big square bit of concrete put in there, so I can go in and I can chuck their food down for them, you know, and check they've got water. But generally in the day, I get people just to top their water up and make sure they've got lots of straw so they're not cold.
Yeah, but it's quite a unique sort of, I've not seen anybody in a wheelchair who's got any farmyard animals before.
No, but to be honest, like, if you've got a big enough garden, they are really nice animals to have, because you can go away as long as you make sure someone gives them water and food. You couldn't leave them on their own completely, but they're not like a dog. They're not really reliant on you.
Yeah. So obviously with your wheelchair rugby, you get a lot of fitness and that, but you also do a lot of physio and stuff at home. Yeah. What sort of, like, do you have a program or somebody come and help you? Or?
Because I'm obviously part of the GB Elite team, we get programs written for us, which is amazing. You know, we have a strength coach that helps us with all our strength and conditioning. But yeah, I think just over the years you learn what's good for your body and what's not. I get a lot of soft tissue massage, which really helps, you know, with my shoulders and with the training and everything. I get at least one a week. And then I also have physio. I really like, because we're obviously sat down quite a lot, I do a lot of standing in my standing frame after every gym session. I do at least 3-4 a week sessions, stand up for at least 20 minutes, half an hour every time. And then I go to the physio and they stretch my hips and my legs out for me and my spine, and I sort of lay over like a foam roller, you know, try and get some extension and flexion in my spine, and just keep things loose and supple, really, because we're constantly sat in this same position. You know, and if you think about it, years and years spent like that, you're gonna not be very flexible and supple.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really important to get all that in. Like, people think, oh, well, I can't feel it, so it's not really much of a problem, but it can cause other issues.
Exactly.
Especially if you haven't got that flexion extension in your spine, it's like, it compounds the shoulder problems that you have. So
exactly, if you get tight in certain areas, it can lead to triggers everywhere else. You know,
it's compensating for the for those other areas.
Exactly. So it's important to keep yourself loose, even on your bed. You know, if you've not got the means to get a plinth, or if you can't get on the floor, because I can get on the floor, I can't get back up. So for me, I do it on a plinth or my bed, and you know, just following some sort of slight gentle yoga positions and getting your legs in good positions, and stretching out your hips and moving your legs and your ankles and your feet and then your shoulders and your back, and get a foam roller and lean over a foam roller while it's underneath you. It's not very comfortable, but
it helps.
It helps.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hi. You come to say hello again.
Just attention seeking.
You can push him off when you need.
He's just there for a bit. And you have a sort of gym set up at home. What sort of stuff do you have in your home gym?
Yeah, so I've got a couple of benches down there, like just standard gym benches that I can transfer on and use like a weight belt around my waist. So I've got free weights, can do some bench pressing, cables, do some rows, multi-gym, so I can stay in my chair and do some chest press and things like that. And then I've also got a SciFit hand bike, which is great to get different cardio in rather than always, you know, pushing my rugby chair and stuff like that. And there's a few more bits I would like to get. It's not finished. Been gradually collecting it all over the years, so I would definitely like a ski erg machine and to do some other types of fitness. But yeah.
You were saying you like to push up, well, you might not like to do it, but you push up and down, you drive with some weights on you.
Yeah, I get in my rugby chair and, you know, do some hill pushes.
Yeah.
The strength coach sets me those sessions, and it's normally sort of 10 seconds on, 20 seconds rest, 10 seconds on. But yeah, generally putting like weights on the front of the rugby chair, just some any sort of weight you've got, really. And yeah, it's hard. Yeah. It's quite hard work doing
Good
those.
on you for doing it all. There's a lot of training in there that you're doing. So
yeah, it's nice to mix it up so you're not doing the same things and getting bored.
Yeah, because you, like, a lot of people think, like, oh, for cardio in a wheelchair, all I can do is push my chair, but there's so much you can do.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much you can do, and it's good. Like when I do go to my physio sessions, they've even got FES bikes, so I use some of the FES stuff, which is it's so lovely, which is quite sweet. It's sweet.
What was that?
So yeah, to get on the FES, which is good for your muscles and everything else, and then just I think standing, like when you're newly injured as well, is just so important. Keeps your bone density good, stretches out your hip flexors, keeps your ankles supple, your knee joints, all your ligaments. So even if you can just get standing 3 times a week to begin with, you know, that really helps, and it gets you in a nice straight position rather than bent up all the time.
Yeah, because that's where we're meant to be as humans, is standing up, so not sat down all day.
Exactly.
You're facing the camera now. Make sure you get your good side. So I think that's pretty good for what we've spoken to. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. It's been really nice to talk to you and to meet you and to learn all about the things you do. Yeah, it's, as I said to you before the interview, like, I only really knew your wheelchair rugby story, but to hear like all the other things you've done and what a like a rich and fulfilling life you've made for yourself, really, it's really great to see, really inspiring for hopefully other people watching this sort of thing. Yeah. So I just sort of so thank you for that. Is there anything so if people want to see more of you, where should they look?
Just probably my Instagram page. I post most of my training and sports on there, really. It's just Kylie Grimes 7. Yeah,
I'll put a link in the description so people can find that.
That'd be cool. I put a lot on my stories, and you know, and it's quite fun actually, because when we travel as a team, people are like, "Oh, what do you do in your downtime?" And you know, so I put stuff on the stories of the boys being silly and what we get up to. So it's quite nice. Yeah, it's cool to see like a different sort of side of what can be possible after your injury. Thank you very much for that. To finish off, I'd just like to ask you to give some advice. So imagine you like 13 years ago. What would you tell that person? What would you give them advice in? The best advice I would ever give, you know, I was always a very confident person back then, but just to go out and try things, get involved with charities if you need to. One of the best things that I ever did for myself was go skiing with backup. You know, it opened my eyes that I could still do adventurous sports besides wheelchair rugby, and it made me realise that I could still be on the snow and enjoy it, and still, you know, then realise I could then go on holiday and do things. So just try things. Don't be scared to try things.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Thank you very much. That was great. Cool.
Thank you.